Scary for T1. We've seen this kind of opening before. The Beast with Avenge. It kind of tells me that there might be a Medusa because you've got the attack speed aura, you've got the Venge aura. The last time we have seen a lot of Medusas actually stack Widow's Horus, and it's a slow hero, but when you have all of these buffs, it can fight a bit earlier.
That it can. Whether T1 plan to go down that route, though, is an entirely different story for now. T1 going to make their fourth pick. I don't know about the Medusa still, John. Like, we saw it out of Boom Esports. They made it look really good. We saw it out of Adroit. It looked terrible. It was, I don't think the hero itself fits the meta at all. Now, I do agree the Venge does help quite a lot. But T1, they'll go into the Morphling, which is ironically the exact pos 1 that was up against that Medusa early on today. And it really wasn't an issue at all. They just took him out. No problem.
Yeah, I think this is also a soft deny away from Cignal Ultra and kind of simplifies life for the Morphling. He doesn't have to invest in the Ags to turn into the Shaker. It's on the opposing team. He can just shift when he sees him, has access to enchant without having to spend 4,200 gold. So it's a great pickup, and it also bans it out from Cignal, so they can't go for that combination themselves, of course. Cignal, it gets a bit iffy to go into that Medusa. Like you mentioned it, but we just saw that and the timings were off. I'm not sure if you want to go all in on that Aura strat. Maybe if they do want to go a different route with the Aura, Luna is an option. This kind of draft, the Venge Luna Beastmaster just melts towers down. It doesn't take as much farm, but the timings are a lot more sensitive if they do go for that pause 1.
My heroes have disappeared from the draft screen for some reason. There's the
Oh, no, they go for
Medusa.
it.
Okay. So now the only thing
Yeah.
on my screen is Medusa for some reason.
There's an easy fix. Just dip out into the menu and dip back in. It'll refresh. Because Dota 2's beta. It's not like the prize pools help development, Mike.
Thank you, John.
You have to tank Valve, Mike, not me.
10 seconds.
Thank you for the tip. It does work. So Medusa picked. It's. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about the Medusa, John. I don't like it. I don't think it's good. I assume if Miracle can just farm very well on this Morphling, he'll probably just take over the game, and the Medusa may not be an issue. If they do let it go on too long, sure. I can see the Medusa becoming a problem. You'll never be able to push high ground, and she'll just snowball out of control. But that's assuming it gets to that point. Like, you've got these heroes right now that can really rotate on that Medusa quite a lot during those weaker stages. You've got the Tusk, you've got the Prophet. Even the Phoenix can do some work. With all the magic damage it does burst out. Let's see how they finish it off. They do still need some kind of mid-core. They're going to play this 4 Protect 1 sort of lineup. So someone needs to really take over the reins of the Cignal Ultra side before the Medusa is ready to go. What will it be, though?
And I would usually say something in this case like the odd OD pick would be nice for the most part because punishes the morph pretty nicely. It's just when you have the Deuce, it gets really hard to fit heroes like that. The DK's been banned out, which would have been a solid way of having push early on.
A TA could fit if they wanted to go like TA, but they'll go Dazzle.
No. I think that's fine. I think it gives them early aggression. Dazzle does take EXP to kick in, but I'd say even level 12 is a good point for the Dazzle to be really strong. Level 6, not quite, but once you hit 12, you usually have the mech. You can sustain your Medusa, you can stall out the fights. We have seen Dazzle used to great effect. I think the key thing here for Cignal is they can't allow the Morphling to farm as much as the Medusa is. I think if you keep that farm relatively equal, you're going to see the Morphling start to become an issue. So you actually do need to clear the map out here as Cignal Ultra. If T1, if Miracle gets the space in Morphling, there's not much to stop T1 from trying to fight. It's not like Cignal has the combination with the Medusa. It's not like they have the egg with the Stone Gaze. Their team fight is Stone Gaze, they've got great single target control and the slam.
Right.
Whereas T1, they can stall it out a bit more with the egg. They can split the attention up. They've got great abilities to change the terrain with the Sprout, with the shards, so they can actually isolate Signal Ultra a bit better, and that might cause issues depending on how Signal plays.
Well, there's the Conqueror as well. See, that's the way to finish off this draft. You have
Mm,
that boat buff now for the whole team. You've got someone who can fight very early in your dreams, going to enjoy himself. Probably up against that Dazzle. Like, the Dazzle could be annoying if Jamesy is going to go mid. But I think in your dream on the Kunkka won't mind it too much. Really, no matter
yeah, I
who you
think.
put in that mid lane, like maybe the Medusa does well, but overall, I
Mm,
think T1's draft is just substantially better. It is going to be a
yeah,
matter of outplay potential, of course. Like, there is still a lot of outplaying potential there on Cignal Ultra. But you've got to buy so much space for a bat.
that they do. And T1 is probably not going to give them that space. Like their supports are a lot more aggressive with the Tusk and the Phoenix. I mean, you could maybe see Eris make some good rotations down mid to try and shut down IYD. Kunkka is not a very easy target to bring down, though. So you look to T1 to really start shutting down these lanes as well. Signal, they need to find a way to stem that aggression with their lineup. I think the biggest thing for Signals, Eris's blink timing is going to be key. In this case, the Shakers just has such a prominent role in the team fights that it really needs to find that decently timed blink just to buy space for that Medusa.
We'll go into the match. Game number 1 between T1 and Cignal Ultra. Set to begin. A bat, of course, is going to go into that safe lane as the Medusa. Just going to try and make sure he can get as much farm as possible. I believe they are definitely... Yeah, they're going to send Jamesy into the mid lane as that Dazzle. You do still have some great harass potential out with that Poison Touch. If you are Jamesy up against the Kunkka, it's just the Tidebringer. You know, In Your Dream can
Yeah.
just hit so hard with that ability. And even though you do have some decent sustain there with the Dazzle, I get worried for Jamesy that it may not be enough.
Yeah, there's a lot there for the Dazzle that doesn't work quite into it. Like his base damage isn't too great. Even the Kunkka can just pump around with the Tidebringer. I think the way the Dazzle scales in lane as well doesn't favor it in this case. It does have the sustain. So the Shadow Wave should allow you to find the farm. And as long as Kunkka's not, well, as long as you don't have the Tidebringer up, you do kind of force the Kunkka to think twice about going near the creep. So there is at least that going for Jamesy.
Well, it's going to be a 2-for-2 trade on the Bounty Runes. Standard start. It's T1 going to have Forev there down at the bot lane on that Prophet. Polison going to be there on the Tusk. Joe Cam Miracle going to be up at the top lane. Because they'll be up against Van on that Beastmaster and Eris on the Earthshaker. Seen so much Earthshaker today. It's been really fantastic to watch. This hero just making its way back into the meta.
It's just really valuable. It's got that early roaming potential that we see players like Boomy and DJ maximize. The investment into that early blink really pays off. It just scales really nicely as a forehand. I think that's really what you want now. You want early presence, but you don't want it to be too sacrificial because the tendency is the offlane starts to give that space
Miracle.
away.
Miracle? Is strength morphing now. Eris, you might be going too far,
What?
sir. His creep's blocking him up now. Joe Cam, not enough.
Oh,
They will survive on 20 HP. Now Joe Cam will die.
what? Strange way for his first blood to go. With, the importance of creep aggro is starting to show there, and both sides just kind of toying around with that just a bit. Era's gonna be really happy the last hit didn't kill him off, but that does put Miracle in a bit of a precarious spot, as he did have to expend, I believe, a Fairy Fire for that.
He did. Bit of a an orthodox move to just stand there and kind of auto attack. And Grims finds it hilarious. It's Paulson trying to deal with this pool that's going on right now. The Cignal Ultra side altogether look pretty happy. So I don't think they're gonna actually be able to slow down a bat too much in this safe lane Medusa. Like you might get a couple denies off here with Forev's Nature's Prophet. Overall, I think you just understand that a bat is gonna secure some decent enough farm.
Yeah.
It'd be more about the
So-
mid game, I guess, and shutting her down.
Yeah, the hard thing about this lane for T1 is the fact that Paulson, in this situation, just level 1 tag team's not enough. Even the shards are not enough. You need a snowball to get in there, because you run the risk of Grims just stunning you up. So the combination with the Treant's not quite going to be up until perhaps level 3. That's when Paulson should be able to commit to a heavier form of harassment.
You could always try to just go on Grims, though, if you really wanted to, but I think Forever just wants to focus on ensuring he gets those denies and CS off. He's doing a good job of it, currently sitting at second in CS. First place is In Your Dream on that Kunkka. We look at Jamesy trying to harass In Your Dream out, but he's really not too concerned. Turns around, swings his sword, and just takes out half the HP of Jamesy. It's a real fight here for the Dazzles. Poison Touch will fly out. Get refreshed once. Jamesy will pop the salve as well. In Your Dream, understanding all you really got to do is just walk away once that Poison Touch comes out and wait a couple seconds until it does wear off, and you should be alright.
Yeah, it's definitely not too hard for IYD to just kind of stay there. He is out of regen, but just about has the gold for his bottle, so not going to be an issue for too long. Again, the one thing hurting IYD is the fact that,
Yeah, Jamesy, X-Torrent going to be there. Paulson going to rotate in. Shards tag team, and it is very, very easy to secure the kill onto the Dazzle.
yeah, it's a bit greedy there, coming out from JMC to stick around a bit too long. Should have known that once you hit 4, X marks the spot is up. It's an easy setup for the kill. So nice punishment coming out from T1. You do finally see Paulson's rotation, and that does give him its level 3, so he's got level 1 Snowball up and running as well.
The top lane Van also goes down on that Beastmaster. Miracle and Joe Cam just really abusing the fact that he was left alone. Eris is currently in the mid lane making sure Jamesy isn't going to die again. And you got to make your choices to who's going to survive, I guess. In Your Dream, getting an X-Torrent, making sure he can secure that regen rune, and does get it. Although, no, he does finally get it now in the bottle. They won't have quite enough damage to finish him off, so he will be able to regen back up to full HP, full mana fairly easily. But for now, he does just salve up. Jamesy will eventually cancel that salve as well, so he does pop the regen.
Yeah, and this movement down mid is causing Eris to come down, which means that top lane Van is just alone. He can't do much.
Just keeps dying. In Your Dream could be in trouble now. Tries to get an X off on Jamesy. He is going to be safe. We'll just go behind the T1, turn around. Paulson is going to be there as well. He'll activate the tag team with a great shards out. That T1 tower is doing so much damage to Jamesy. Eris will take aggro. Paulson is still going, however. They'll try to kill In Your Dream before they die. Snowball out. Eris does actually get the kill. And now the shallow wave will actually save Eris on the Earthshaker. They do eventually get the trade thanks to Paulson on the task.
Yeah, I think Cignal's still going to be happy about that, because you do get the additional EXP on Jamesy. He was around to see that through, and he gets a bit more gold. So it does finally pay off, that rotation mid. Whether or not that compensates for the very slow lane Van's having and the very good lane you're giving Miracle, I'm not entirely sure. Miracle's at level 5, Van's still at 3, and he can't really stop the Morphling anymore. It's just a bit too much with how he can juggle here.
He's trying to get some pulls off there, the side, but Joe Cam's being a real nuisance here, disrupting any kind of pull to come out from Van. Miracle just going to have perfect creep equilibrium on his end of things. Thanks, Joe Cam. It's going to mean free farm for him. Because we should have a look back at a Bat who is also essentially free farming right now on the Medusa. Got to live and denies out from Forever, but it's not making too much of a difference here for a Bat. But again, that Medusa, he's just got such a long time that he's got to farm up. That I'm not sure if this early CS really matters that much for a Medusa. Like, of course it does matter. But for T1, understanding you can't exactly stop this from happening, you may just accept it and move on. Though Paulson is going to snowball in. There is no support right now for Abat, so he just has to try and TP out. It's a lot of damage, but not quite enough. But Forev now going to TP straight up to the top lane. And they're going to try and secure a kill onto Grims, but he did actually have a Tango available at the time. And did eat his way through the tree line. Eris was there just in case.
It's a bit of unfortunate. Rotation doesn't pay off, and they don't manage to find that pressure on Abbott. But in the end, T1 is still finding the gold here, and you know, you've really shut down Van. I think that's the big takeaway for Cignal, that their Beastmaster is not up and running. There's not going to be a jungle for him to fall back to because you've got the Medusa. So Abat is just going to be soaking all the safe camps, and this just means Van's going to have a very slow start here.
Well, Grim's going to get dived on now. Forev's still around the area. Now the tree blocks to come out. Grim should just tick out here to Joe Cam, and does. Now, James is going to rotate in. Joe Cam, he's going to fall very, very low and does go down. Miracle would be a huge pick off here for Cignal Ultra. But he's, of course, just going to waveform out of there. But Eris still on the chase, gets another Fisher off. But Forev going to make sure that his Morphling does stay alive. And now they might even turn it around. In Your Dream does throw a Torrent out. Eris still trying to go. Miracle getting very, very low. In Your Dream does have a boat available. He will throw the X boat out onto Eris. And that'll mean this Earthshaker should be dead. But Jamesy does end up finding the Morphling.
Oh, Miracle was just out of HP. He had no strength to shift into anymore and just died to the poison tick.
Top lane, Van tried to get some farm in. We'll get punished for it.
Ooh.
Oh, and now Jamesy has to be careful. He's trying to go after Paulson, taking a lot of damage, but he does have a haste rune. Paulson will go down to the Van balls that were still left over. So,
oh man.
I mean, they eventually get a trade for it, I guess.
Yeah, I think this does favor Cignal a bit. Jamesy's finding a lot of good kills, and while you leave that happening, Abat just farms freely bot, although Miracle is there to contest. So you do see the pause once sizing up each other, but that just lets Abat TP away, down to mid, find more farm. Surprising to me a while ago was that Abat was queuing up the Manta style first, but he does opt for the Madness, although
yeah, he might need that Manta. In Your Dream going to come in with the X. Nice fish route from Eris though. Joe Cam's going to die. Bat is very low. Forever really wants the kill and does secure that. But he might die for this. And he will. Jamesy picks up a double kill now on the Dazzle.
yeah, it's been a really good bounce back for Jamesy after that laning phase, and he's actually being really active on the map. Not something you see with the Dazzles, and oh man, Paulson.
He'll snowball to the creep wave. Should be fine. Still Poison Touch is going, so Paulson is taking a fair bit of damage, but they won't chase him underneath the tier 1 tower. It's just not worth it. And Cignal Ultra, sitting at 7 to 8, there is still a 2k net worth lead for the side of T1. But they aren't looking too bad.
Yeah, they really aren't. I think that gold lead is down to Paulson's farm on the Tusk. He actually has a fair bit more than, say, even Eris. Beyond that, the cores are fairly matched up, except for Miracle, who has pulled out the 4k. So it's a substantial lead for him. There's still a lot of room for Cignal to grow, and they have to temper their aggression. There's only so much you can expect right now. T1 is starting to come online. You really only need Jocam 6 to be up and running, and basically the rotations will start coming out.
It seems as though T1 are going to start trying to pressure that bottom tier 2 and maybe try to get a glyph out of it. The Miracle probably should just back off to the jungle, but no, they're going to go after Eris. Great shards out. Fisher, Eris is just going to hold out for this. Waveform in, and he will die. Jocam the one to pick up that kill on the Phoenix. And top lane Van, he is not safe. He thinks he's safe, but he's definitely not safe. X gonna be there with a boat to fly in from In Your Dream. Forever will TP on the Prophet, and that is gonna be another very, very easy pickoff for the side of T1.
But this is something Cignal should have been ready for, considering how bad Van's lane went. He was going to have to dip into riskier jungle farm because there's no safe farm with Abbott in this game. It's just the way it is with a Medusa. You have to give that space to the Medusa, and Van is just slowing down so much. This is really going to hurt the pace of Cignal. Not only because their offlaner has no farm, but because Eris has to take the back seat. So the blink timing on our Shaker, which is their only team fight, is gone, and Eris has to be careful where he walks. Jungle's not under their control.
At this point, I would give Eris the farm priority.
He should.
Quite literally, yeah, you really should. He's going to have probably more impact with that Blink Echo, but Van gets a nice roar off. Joe Cam going to try and Icarus dive away, but Grimm's very quick on the swap. Very nice indeed.
Yeah, would have been close if they didn't find that one. Still worthwhile use of the roar, but they still maintain a 2k lead in T1. So while all of this aggression's breaking out, you're giving Miracle a free farm. He is farming a bit better than the Dusa, although you do see a nice catch-up from our Dusa. Abbat is just about 200 gold away now from the Morphling, so it's kicking in, especially with that mom. The key thing is, Abbat cannot be caught outside. They have to draw a line with where he can farm. If he crosses it, it's risky. Like, wouldn't want to go near past the outpost in this case.
Mid lane, X, Eris gonna get caught out now. Does have the Echo, will commit it. It's a lot of damage, but there's not gonna be enough follow-up to it. Nice spread out from Forev, making sure that Joe can remain safe from the Dazzle. And T1, 8 to 11 now, still looking great. Shards to fly out now from the task onto Van. They really like picking on this Beastmaster, but he will have Jamesy around. Still, Miracle now TPs, or rather jumps in. The TP from Paulson is cancelled off. Miracle probably wishes he had that waveform right now. Swap in. Van has Roar in a few seconds, but it's not going to be fast enough. They are just remaining grouped up on the side of Cignal Ultra. Not splitting up as there are strength in numbers. They're going to try and make a push happen through the mid lane.
Yeah, I think this is the right way to play this draft. They have been giving Abbat a lot of space. Like, there's been no opportunity for T1 to actually hunt that Dusa down. So you're seeing Miracle dip out of the jungle when he shouldn't. Probably just stick to farming, Miracle. Just match the pace of the Dusa and everything will end up fine. Does look like he is going for a fast SNY, just trying to go for the right-click build, which we have seen a few players opt for. Should pay off, because again, you have the Shaker you could just morph into without investing in the Ags. You've got a lot of damage to access very early on.
Isn't this exactly what Raven did against the Medusa on Morphling? Yeah, he literally is going the exact same build as Raven did. It worked. I don't quite blame him for doing that. It did work very nicely. Eris could be in trouble. Forever, of course, TPing in again. Eris being blocked up completely. Does throw out the Fissure. Doesn't have anything like an Echo, and will get sprouted up. We'll go down. Still trying to farm towards that Blink. He's about 1.2k gold off. Meanwhile, in the Radiant jungle, Stonegaze was committed by a bat, but Grims is going now. Trying to run away from Paulson with a snowball. In Your Dream will be there, and Grims will die. They could not stand there with the Stonegaze because the egg was going from the Phoenix.
This is an issue for Cignal. They just should not be in any situation where Abbat uses that Stonegaze offensive. You just can't fight. You maybe use it to retreat, but most definitely not to take him away from farming. And this just delays his timing a bit. Of course, the support kills mean that T1 can clump up mid. They can find that objective, force the Fortify out. There is a response, so Cignal is clumping up.
They're trying to make the chase there onto Joe Cam. Van is looking for a target to roar. Doesn't quite get one. And T1, they just really dissipate. They just get out of there. Not wanting to stick around too long. And I can't quite blame them.
Yeah, not giving any opening towards Signal Ultra. T1 just plays it safe. Again, you look at Cignal, I think the farm priority is just a bit wonky. They just need Eris to farm up for the blink. Maybe you can set up some plays afterwards. Before that, you really don't have many options here for the fights. It's really just a farm game for them. T1 can take control, and they have. They're the ones playing aggressive. They've got a really good forward ward here on that bot jungle that they can use to spot some kills out.
Necro 3 now up on Van. At least he's caught up quite nicely on the Beastmaster. Mech coming up as well now onto Jamesy, so you've got a lot more sustain now on the side of Cignal Ultra. You've got to ask the question if T1 are playing fast enough this game. They've only found one T1 thus far. We are 16.5 minutes in. Abad is still farming very nicely on that Medusa. I just don't know if they've pulled far enough ahead on T1 to really call this a win.
It doesn't feel like it yet. Like, they do maintain a slight network lead. But you are right. They are lacking in objectives, I think. T1 needs to try to shut that map down. They were taking control bot earlier, and they are back in that bot jungle. It's just that every time they do this, Cignal knows to toss a bat elsewhere. He's just farming safer on the low ground. You've got good distribution up top as well with Van and Jamesy pressuring the top tier 2.
Eris still trying to get that blink, is going to take a boat. They'll swap him out this time, but no, the snowball there from the side. And now Grims might be in trouble. Shards don't really lock him in, but the Treants do. He puts the GG tree down. That mid lane now going to be forced in by T1. They should be able to get this fairly easily, considering there are no supports on the side of Cignal Ultra to try and defend this. They try to force in the top tower, and they do get the tier 2.
Yeah, it's a favorable trade for Cignal, even though they lose that mid tier 1. Still, a bot tier 2 being forced in, but Fortify is there. They've still got the numbers around that tower, though.
That they do. They'll try to force in that bottom tier 2 tower now, T1. But it is a bit hard when a bat is there in front of that tower with that Manta Mask of Manus up. And so, they are going to back off again. SNY now available there on Miracle with the Ethereal Blade to come out, apparently. And that is still the exact same build, is it not?
Yep, that it is. It's a lot of value, because even if you don't burst the Dusa, it's a disarm. Although Abbat does have the early Manta, so he can dodge it or just purge off that disarm, which kind of takes a bit of that value away for Miracle. It's an issue of timing. Otherwise, you know, it's still going to be good to pick off the supports. None of them are particularly tanky. And really, Cignal, they're just farming together, trying to find that gold. I think with Van, with the Necronomicon trees, means that Eris should definitely get that space. He's so close to the blink. Like 500 gold away. Just give him that space he needs. T1 is using this space pretty nicely as well. Paulson, he's had that Urn of Shadows for a while, is going into the blink. So he can make those saving plays with the Tusk on anyone that they roar up. This makes it harder for Cignal to commit. And T1, they know they're ahead. They go straight to the pit.
It's about that time. Swap, going to be out. Roar as well. They did catch out Jocam. So now no Phoenix available, and it looks like Cignal, they want to try and take this fine. They jump into Paulson. Boat does fly in, though. There's the Stone Gaze and a great Fisher round from Eris, just blocking the exit. T1 have nowhere to go, and they'll be chased down now. Van can try and block up in your dream. This Kunkka not going to be able to tank that much damage, and also will die. And Eris, another Fisher round, now taken there by the Morphling. But they're going to go for that Roshan play.
Yeah, this is a huge opening for Cignal. They have to watch out, though. T1 still has the egg. They're not going to let this one go for free.
Definitely not. Fire Spirits will fly in. There'll be a bit of vision there for T1. You've got the waveform available on Miracle. He's just waiting for a way in, but Grim stuns him up. But now the Icarus dive, it won't be enough. They did actually get the Roshan kill on T1's end of things, but the Aegis does go to a bat. Jocam now just going to try and run away, but Eris will have the Fisher up in just a second. He's holding out, but eventually does get it out, and now they will kill off Jocam. Great little play there from Cignal Ultra.
Yeah, it's all on the back of Eris getting that really great block. That gave them the trap up they needed. A bit messy from T1. The fact that they lost their Phoenix really early with that swap meant that they had no egg, but they found the Aegis anyway.
Oh, that's not good.
Oh boy.
They do have the swap there on Grim, so he'll get a bat out of there. Manta as well. Grims will just die quickly. So the Aegis has just gone to waste. Apparently they didn't have much of a problem getting through the HP pool of that Medusa.
No, it's not that point yet where he's tanky, so the punishment is still there, and Abat does switch up his items, does want the BKB first, so just wants to be able to stand and fight now. This game is stalling out though, like Jamesy is approaching that level 18 mark, and that's when sustain the Dazzle brings gets a bit wacky. You know, 20-second Guardian Greaves once more. That's going to be enough to keep their team alive for a long time.
T1. Still waiting for that shotgun from Miracle. He's trying to farm it up ASAP. He just needs the Eagle Song now.
Yeah, I think the other things to watch out for is the disarms up and running on IYD. They can isolate that, although Van
be caught out. Sunray is there with the boat to fly in. It's just going to be a very, very easy pickoff again for T1. I mean, by this point, though, Van's died so many times already. It's like, it's not like you're really shutting him down any more than he has been. But now, that Grim, they don't want the Venge. They want a bat or the Dazzle. Bot T2 tower going to be under siege now from T1. Glyph is going to be forced out from Cignal Ultra. They do have the Ethereal Blade up now though on Miracle. So you've got plenty of damage available right now on T1. You'd imagine they want to try and go for some kind of smoke attempt and surprise the side of Cignal Ultra. But you do have that BKB coming up now on a bat. It's just on the courier. And Abat is going to set up for that T1 mid tower with his team smoke right behind him. It shouldn't be a very hard T1 to take. Bat does get X'd up. Immediately though, swap onto In Your Dream. Paulson jumps in. Great snowball back towards their own side of the base, but now Stonegaze coming out. There's an Echo as well. Error setting up. Jocamp's going to go down. The boat flies in. Abat, he is falling low on mana, but not on HP. Grims will die as well. Miracle will take care of that one. Now the dive in again from Jocam, but Cignal Ultra is backing. Abat getting caught with that X, getting torrented up. Now the egg, he has no mana. Shallow Grave is there. Jamesy trying to delay things the best he can, but it will not matter. Abat has been abandoned, and now, of course, it wouldn't be a team fight unless Van dies. And he did get X'd up. And Eris is also going to get chased down. He'll pick up the Illusion Rune, but Fire Spirit going to land. Sprout is there, and that will mean an Ultra kill coming out for Miracle. The only man to walk out of that was Jamesy.
Yeah, that was a bit topsy-turvy from Cignal. He allowed the snowball to go off, which costed him. The Stone Gaze didn't give them as much as possible because of that snowball save. Paulson was on point in delaying that fight out, and Cignal just fell apart after that. They couldn't really get the control out, especially with that BKB on Abat. So that investment hasn't quite paid off, and T1 again looking a lot stronger. A lot of factors at play as well. Like Forev's had that Crimson Guard up and running. It just mitigates all of this damage coming out. Like, the Medusa just kind of tickles for the most part. It's not amazing damage just yet with all of these defensive item buildups. You're gonna need a few more pickups to overcome that and really start to pump it out. I think the Aura strat needs a little bit more work here. Some items to fly out. You don't really have all too many. Like, no one has a Dominator for added Aura there, so you're missing out on the value, and that does take away from the presence of a bat. I think at this point, you just have a bat, try to build towards his level 18, level 20 even for the town. Just having that, either the duration or the Mystic Snake for sustain, is going to help massively. But before that, he's just not big enough.
A bat runs up, Miracle. Just gonna wait for him away. Eris does get the Fisher off on Jokan, but he will Icarus dive. Cignal Ultra are feeling confident now to really start walking up to the side of T1. The bat's queued up that Eye of Skadi as well, so wanting those extra stats up. And of course, you know, if you're lacking damage later on, you can always just go for that Divine Rapier, which we do tend to see very, very popular on the Medusa. I'm sure they will when it comes to it as well. Like, you kind of have to, because the Medusa does tend to lack so much damage.
Yeah, it's not the most impressive build-up for Abbat. It has been, I mean, he's still in top in net worth. It's just not a substantial lead over Miracle, and that just means, yeah, again, the damage output's not as great. Of course, T1 still maintain a 5k lead. They are still building up. Forev is going to have his own disarm very soon. Just lacks about 300 gold for the Talisman. I believe you've already had that on IYD as well. So multiple Heaven's Halberds making an appearance once more, just to stop the Medusa from really doing anything. And that's always going to be an issue for Abbott. There's only so long you have with a BKB. So there's always a window there for T1 to take. And even Paulson saving up for a Heaven's Halberd as well. So they want 3 Halberds on hand.
Nothing wrong with a few halberds. Bottom lane's going to be pushed in by Cignal Ultra, but T1 will basically do the same thing up at the top lane. It's just going to go mirror the side of Cignal Ultra. Miracle's actually switched out the Eye of Skadi. He had initially queued and is going for a Satanic now. But that's really going to be countered quite nicely by the Eye of Skadi coming out from a bat.
Yeah, I'm surprised about that one. They still need an aura item to stop the regen, just to help them out. Because again, you can't underestimate the Dazzle. He just has so much sustain once you hit 18. And you're just about half a level away here for Jamesy till he gets to that point.
Well, T1 top goes down. T1